Next up on the Run That Back podcast, we got the Kings of Rock, straight from Hollis Queens. Who is that? Run DMC. Subtitle album, Run DMC. Let's get it. Run That Back. Yo, pop, this is man Scorpio Moe and C.Boogie, and this is the Run That Back podcast. And today we got the Kings in the building. We got the Kings. Exactly. We got the Kings in the building, straight from Hollis Queens. Kind of put Queens on the map as far as on the hip hop tip, definitely nationally. We're talking about Run DMC, y'all. Run DMC, Dow Joe, and Jason, man. Dow Joe and Jason, Run DMC as we know him. First album. I get into why it's a game changer, especially with the first single. But we got Run DMC today, man.
Yes, we do. Now, we ain't going to take up too much time with this today. Just the climate of 1984. Four names: Michael, Prince, Madonna, Bruce Springsteen. That's all you need to know. As of right now, we're going to get straight into the self-titled album of Run DMC. Album was released on March 27th, 1984. It was recorded in 1983 in New York City. The album was on Profile, but it was reissued by Arista. The album is considered to be groundbreaking. Definitely was groundbreaking, I know, for me, because just going straight into the intro, I heard of him probably when did It's Like That. That was my intro to them.
Okay.
What was yours?
My intro was Sucker MCs, but we're gonna get to that. But these guys, this was to me, this was the second generation of hip hop.
Explain.
Coming out of Flash, Cold Crush, it was phasing out of that, going into that's why even when you hear the song Jam Master Jay, Rock Boss, our DJ's better than all these bands. You see what I'm saying? Because we were coming out of that band era, and they were opening up. Flash and these guys were opening up for bands. Even Run DMC in their beginnings, you know what I'm saying? Even down to their producer, Larry Smith, being in the band, Orange Crush, right? So that's Run DMC, to me, they lead the charge into the second generation of hip hop. So that's what we're getting into today. But Sucker MCs, and because this is the song where you hear Run has two verses, and then there's DMC, and that's because it was only supposed to have been Run.
Yeah, because from Run's verse, it's basically, from what I gather, it's his story of him, how he got into the game.
How he wanted to be a rapper from being from the son of Curtis Blow.
Right.
So back in the 70s in hip hop, if you had someone under you, like we use the term now, son, as like I'm son of you, or that's my son, the term endearment, right?
Right.
But it was two terms. Like if you had a crew, let's say coming out of the gangs out of New York City, Black Spades, Savage Nomads, or whatever. If you had a smaller division, they were called baby this, baby that. The baby version of the gang.
Gotcha. So
the term was baby, whatever it was baby. The smaller division, the younger division. Well, coming out of, in hip hop, when the rap came, it was no longer baby this, it was like he's the son of Curtis Blow. That's what you hear, Sons of Berserk. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it was like, it wasn't a diss. This was like, yo, he's up under the wing. It was a few sons out there, but Run, Joe at the time, DJ Run. That's why he always, you hear the DJ Run's my name. He's a DJ initially. He kind of wanted to rap, but then he broke his arm in that summer
Can't scratch with
And the father wouldn't let him go on tour. And he was pissed. So then he got with his childhood friend who read comic books and wrote raps. And it was like to do the song. But Russell still didn't know about Daryl, DMC at the time.
Okay. Who is this
so
nigga?
He knew he had a friend, but he didn't know. And then when he got invited to the studio, Russell was actually kind of pissed that D was on the record. But then everybody else said it sounded good. Because he was like, well, Run was in there, but the time was paid for Run. And he was like, yo, kick that rhyme, your rhyme. You know, back then it was like everybody had, yo, kick that rhyme about this, and that was rhyme about that. So you would go to parties and kick certain rhymes.
Right.
So he said, kick that rhyme that you got, and that's why you hear DMC's part was a rap that he had.
Okay.
And he did it to that beat. And then that's when you hear, that's why Run has 2 verses.
I'm about to say, because what, did Russell not like Daryl?
No, he didn't want it to be a group. He wasn't really, and then with Run, he kind of like blew him off. His little brother, Joey,
Right.
He blew him off. But everybody else in the room, and then when the record took off, it's like, ah. And everybody else said, yo, that sound good.
Right.
You know, and that's, I don't know if people understand, that's how Run DMC actually came about. It was never supposed to be Run DMC. It was supposed to be DJ Run. You know, I don't know if that would have stuck his name, and then that's when they put it together. The name of your group is Run DMC, and they tell that story like on what was that documentary they had out that Russell put out. But in any case, that's how the whole thing. And the first, what's the name? That's why if you hear the song, and he said, you know, people think it's saying Jay cut the record down to the bones.
Dave.
It's Davey DMX. Dave cut the record down to, because Dave was part of, Davey DMX was part of Orange Crush as well. You know what I'm saying? So that's kind of how Run divided. That summer, so like him breaking his arm, because he played basketball. He broke his arm playing basketball. So it developed into this obviously mega career superstars of hip hop. So that's how it came about. But my first song was Sucker MC's first.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
And then the dope part about that record, if anybody's ever paying attention, was 2 things. It's an instrumental to a song Orange Crush already had. They just replayed it over. That's number 1. Number 2, it was the first hip hop record. I'll take it back. Hip hop records before then were played over by bands.
Right.
But that's not how hip hop came from the beat.
Break beats.
But no one was taking that and putting it on records.
Right.
Rawness. So they were thought to play it over. You know, obviously the Sugar Hill Band from, you know, Sugar Hill Records, the band that replayed everything, and people would come from that and enjoy records and Bobby Robinson and all those guys. But Run and them comes in there and they do the Boom Bap, which they were doing, but nobody had did it on a record.
Right.
So Run DMC are the first ones. So when you hear Sucker MC, it's all drums.
Right. And we're going to get into
I'm sorry, I know that I'm thinking this all, but that's how that really, I just wanted to like set the tone, because this is why Run DMC stood out and was so different, because they were so raw in the beginning of their career.
Right. And because a lot of their groundbreaking music was due to the Boom Bap, and honestly the at that time updated format of moving away from bands and just going straight to a DJ and taking the break beats. And this is before you had to pay for samples. Right. This was just, you know, them doing their rhymes over those beats.
But think about it. You got a person like Larry Smith, who's from a band that was managed by Russell Simmons, but has the genius to say, we're not going to make it a band sound. It's going to be a boom bap. So it's just, and I heard that was Russell's idea. So Russell does give credit for that. They just wanted to be loud and hard.
Right. Now that also enlightened me to something that I will talk about later on. So getting into the album, the first single released on August 10th, 1983, It's Like That.
Is that the B-side?
No, that is the very first single.
Is it? Okay.
Yes.
first time I'm hearing somebody else finishing somebody else's line. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, that was my introduction to that. I've never seen that, never heard that. And we're not from records where we 5 years in of hip hop records, 79 to 84, 5 years.
Yeah, 83.
83. Yeah. So that's 3 years. That's 4 years, right?
Well, yeah, 4 years.
Right. So just, we're not that far, but it's this thing where these guys are just trading off. Not you get one verse, I get the other verse. It's like, no, which not even you get 8 bars, you get in the middle of the line, you come in and finish the line.
Right.
That's why I was like introduced to that. I was like, oh.
And at the time, it was groundbreaking because the little that we know of rap at the time, it's just this person, next person, and however many people you have in your group, that's how many people are spitting. If you go from Grandmaster Flash and the Furious 5.
But even when you heard Flash in them, it's like, they would do it with like 5 people. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But
I'm talking about the interconnectivity of the rhyme.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You know what I'm saying? That type of thing. So like I said, it was groundbreaking for that particular time. So then it was like, that's why everybody attributes that particular style to Run DMC, which in an episode that we have coming up with Salt and Pepper, where they kind of do the same thing, which is kind of like their homage to Run DMC. But yeah, it's like that. Drum beats, very sparse as far as with the musicality of it, but that was the 80s. It was just drums.
But even the horn, the hits, doom, 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 doom,
yeah.
The rawness of the drum and just the hits.
Yeah.
You know, they weren't really like played out sounds. You know, maybe the bass line was more of the melody than anything else.
Yeah.
You know.
Definitely. The next single, released December 11th of 1983, Hard Times. Again, another track that has drums, very, very few melodic touches in it, but again, it's rap in the 80s. This is how we are, from a national aspect, are being introduced to Run DMC and hip hop as we knew it back then. So it was just like, what is this sound? What is this new?
I want to say, somebody got to correct me. I want to say that was actually a Curtis Blow record first.
Really?
Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, that was a Curtis Blow record, and then they took it and made it what it was. But initially, that record was for Curtis Blow. And so, let me see what year The Message came out. Because I think The Message has started to set the tone for rappers coming in, talking about social issues. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So that's when you get like, let's talk about, because they do this in a couple records on the album, where they talk about social ills or what's going on in life. And I think The Message was the first one where people were like, oh, we could talk about that and gain attention. And I think people tried to do their versions of that.
Yeah, The Message was released July 1st, 1982.
Right.
So, of course, you know,
and it hit in a big way for Sugar Hill, and I think a lot of guys was like, because it started to get radio play, daytime radio play. It's one of the first records they got, other than obviously the Sugar Hill record, Sugar Hill Gang record, their first single. So, this was a big deal. Somebody talking about with Flash and them was talking about, and I think a lot of guys between there and 85 tried to shoot their shot in talking about social ills and situation. But Run DMC's hit hard though, like hard time. The beat was hard.
That's what I'm saying.
You could party more to it. You could party to The Message now because of what Bad Boy did with it, you know, and that kind of thing. But back then, it wasn't really a party record, The Message. But here, Hard Times was like,
again, we moved away from the band phase to just hard boom bap, you know, and so that's what people were into. What they were talking about was prevalent at that time and now, which is crazy that a rhyme that was written, 42 years ago is still relevant today.
Yeah, 1000%. Probably the most influential record in hip hop. The Message, probably, yeah.
The next one, and this is this song was released April 16th of 1984, and it had widespread ripple effect on not only hip hop, black radio, white radio, rock box.
Here's where it turns, right? Slightly. Because we got this different sound. And this is the first visuals of Run DMC. Black and white video. I remember seeing it on Friday night videos. If you're from the tri-state area, especially New York, Connecticut, and Jersey, you remember Friday night videos. And I remember seeing it and then coming out Saturday morning. And we was like, yo, did you see his head came off and jumped on his body? And they was just, you know, it was different. And then if you look at the performance scene, them pulling up to the club and, you know, that kind of thing, the Hollis crew, shout out to the Hollis crew, and the audience. LL is in there too, by the way. He's in the crowd somewhere. Yeah. But look at the audience and the diversity of the audience. I don't know if people really understand what I'm trying to say with that. Like, they were very intentional, Run DMC, early about this rock and roll hip hop thing.
Definitely, because with Rock Box, basically it's credited by music critics for dissolving social and racial boundaries within the music industry. It became the first rap video played on MTV in the summer of 1984. The video was filmed at a punk club called Danceteria. And basically they were wearing what street fashion back then, which ended up being black jeans, black kangaroo hats, black t-shirts, leather jackets, of course, Adidas sneakers. Of course, their Adidas sneakers did not have any shoelaces, but the flip side of that is Adidas sneakers with fat laces in it, gold chains, and basically they took that song and the guitar riff that was played by Eddie Martinez. If it wasn't for them, and this is something that Questlove said, if it wasn't for them in Rock Box, Public Enemy, Beastie Boys, Linkin Park, Rage Against the Machine, even punk pop group Blink-182, none of them would be the same without this one song. In pop, in hip hop, and rock would still be segregated art forms if it wasn't for this particular song. So not only did the guitar hit, but the keyboard sprinklings in the song, which made it melodic and hard at the same time.
And you didn't even know you knew it was dope, but you really didn't know what was happening. You see what I'm saying?
Right, because there was a lot of stuff coming everywhere.
It was coming everywhere. I mean, just like you said, on that social level, or what it connected to. You just knew it was dope, and it comes from these guys who made these other records that you like, and it was like, you didn't even realize, and they were blending this in. It did it so cool and so smooth. Even the people that they had in the video, like, they played, like, they were very, very intentional. I don't know what they saw, but they did it right, man. If you're talking about an album, and so this is, at this point, there's 2 game changers already in one album. The Sucker MCs, which is the boom bap, the rawness, which was all drums, which was never done before, and then Rock Box with the guitars and their rock edge. Okay. Yeah.
And like I said, it definitely helped that the video was on MTV, because actually the only black person on MTV at that particular time was Michael Jackson. Prince.
They only had one black host. The light-skinned dude with the afro.
J.J. Jackson.
See, I know women.
He was one of the original VJs. J.J. Jackson,
I only have one
Martha
black
Quinn,
person, yeah.
Nina Blackburn, Mark Goodman,
Mhm.
and Alan Richardson, I believe his name was. But those were the 5 original VJs on MTV,
Absolutely.
and J.J. Jackson was the first black one. The next song that was released, it doesn't give a date, it just says in 1984, was 30 Days. Now, I was listening to this song coming down here, and I found it kind of funny that they were.
It's basically Hard Times, though.
Track wise, yes, but
You know what I'm saying?
but from what they're talking about, like I heard it was Raining Men, but then it's like if I don't do this, that, and the third, send me back in 30 days. I'm guaranteed by the USDA Prime. You know what I'm saying? It was, you know what I'm saying? It was just kind of, to me, it was kind of like a little boast song, like I'm this, and if you don't like it,
yeah, it was braggadocious and
That's the
like I
word.
don't really like anti-stab. Like we don't care. This is, this is the young generation because you gotta understand, Run Dmc were like 19 at the time. You know what I mean? So it's just you have this sense of fearlessness, and you got something hot, but like I said, it felt like it's Hard Times. It's a couple records they did a cheat code with. Same beat, they just changed a few things. They did this with a few records, and I'm like, dog, it's the same record.
and there wasn't that many records
on the album in the first place.
Right.
Good.
And the very last single that was released again in 1984, doesn't give a date, which is Hollis Crew, in parentheses, Crush Groove 2. Which
is Sucker MCs.
Right now, and I was about to say,
Part 2.
because we referenced Orange Crush, and Larry Smith was from Orange Crush,
Right.
that now I was looking at, I was like, Crush Groove, that's Orange Crush Groove. I was like, duh. Enlightenment, I was like, my eyes just popped open.
Friendly fact, it was Rush Groove at first, but it was a company started by him and Curtis Blow. But Curtis Blow on the equipment of Orange Crush used to say Rush Grooves. And what Curtis would go around do, from what I understand, with a black badge marker and put a K in front of it. And that's how we got Crush. Orange Crush and Crush Groove. Funny fact.
Gotcha. All right, so now to get into the rest of the album, like I said, the original album only had 9 songs, which is the one that I listened to. The deluxe version ends up having 13 on there. So to get into the, like I said, the track listing of the album, we've gone over Hard Times. We've gone over Rockbox. The next song, which was a classic to me and was also one of their favorites done in concert because Jam Master Jay had his time to shine, was Jam Master Jay. This to me was one of the first songs that shouted out the DJ and just let him
My favorite
go crazy.
song. My favorite song to this day. That beat comes on and the horn sound. I don't know if that's a horn.
Guitar. Not to mention,
I would sample that. I think Nas did at one point.
the kick drum hits so
That's a
hard,
fact.
so hard on that song. So yeah, and like I said, Jay was cutting up a record called "Scratching" by a Magic Disco Machine. That's where he was getting that from. As we stated, as you talked about, Hollis Crew, Crush Groove 2. The next song is Sucker MCs. This in parentheses, Crush Groove
And
1.
see, the reason why people think that was a single is because it's the B-side to
It's like that?
It's Like That.
Mm-hmm.
So that's why I say I heard that first.
Oh, okay.
You see what I'm saying? Because people will play that. They like that better. It resonated better at the party. I would hear it at the party chant. When guys would play basketball and had their boom box, I would hear that. That's why I always associated with basketball. I remember sitting on the basketball court, and it's something about then, at least, playing a song and you're balling, you're on the court. Even me, and I wasn't much of a basketball player, but it gave me a little bit more pep in my step.
That's because the beat hit hard.
Yeah, and it's just like, he might go between your legs a little bit. You might a little bit more razzle and dazzle, if you know what I mean.
Shake and bake with it.
Yeah, but because so that's the reason why I always, for me, when you say the first thing in hip hop, I mean Run DMC, it's always that because that was the B-side.
Okay. The next song, It's Like That, before I went over. Now the next song after that, this is where the album took a little dip for me. Wake Up. Yes. Another social ills type song, but it just.
I'm gonna tell you something about this. You probably didn't even think of. Now I'll tell you this. You're gonna be like, oh snap. So as we always talk about, I listen to these over. You know what? If you speed that up, you know what that is?
What?
It's Get It Started. Whoa, 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 Run DMC and Dougie Fresh and DJ Run and put on the hammer. I don't want to get us knocked off copyright. And you will be rewarded when my beat is ever booming. You know I get it started. It's the flow. Wake up. You just gotta speed it up. When I heard it, I was like, oh, Hammer's whole flow was wake up. Then you gotta speed it up. He just sped it up. Wake up. Wake up. He sped it up.
Okay.
I'm on your ass, MC Hammer.
I hear it in my head.
It sped it up. I was like, because I heard the flow. I was like, this flow is sound. Now I saw the Hammer. I was like, he sped it up. It's the same flow. Just wanted to put that out there.
I've been enlightened. The next song we've already gone.
I wasn't
over.
mad at it though.
No, it just took a little dip for me. The next song we did 30 Days, and then the very last song on the album was Jay's Game. I didn't like Jay's Game.
I didn't. Just to keep it real, I didn't.
I didn't like Jay's Game.
I didn't either.
Now, with that being said, all the likes of the deluxe edition had Rock Box, had Here We Go, which side note about that,
live at the Funhouse.
Yeah, and then we had Sucker MCs live at Graffiti Rock, and then Russell and Larry running at the Mouth. Now, as far as Here We Go live at the Funhouse, I specifically remember that being released as a 12-inch. Because my boys, Keith and Kurt again, went to Stanford's and had that record, and it was separate from this album. It was just like
no, it was. It was. I think it was something that they played on. I want to say Kiss or BLS, and people taped it. Yeah. And then it was like, let's press this up because it started. I think it got requested. Like they did a countdown, went number 1. It went number 1, and somebody had the genius of saying, let's press it up.
Yeah, because they sampled Billy Squires.
Just like when you hear La Di Da Di.
Yeah, they sampled Billy Squires' Big Beat record. Yeah.
Which was a big sample then.
Big
a lot
sample.
of people use.
But yeah, because I was wondering, I was like, oh, we got a rare Run DMC record. It was like, oh, snap.
No, it's the ultimate if you've ever catch their style. And that's when you got to feel their energy. DMC and dum diddy dum diddy diddy dum dum, because you get to hear like the routines you didn't hear on the record.
Yes, like
that energy. And if you ever seen Running Them live, even when you see that part in Crush Groove when he talks his stuff and they drag it out, then it's the hits for them. It's loud. It's DJ Run. Man, damn Master J is it and I can win. Yo, let me tell you, even just doing that right now, they knew how to bring that energy in those chills. Even so, there's this level with Curtis Blow, but then Run comes in, I guess, even as a student, and they learn how to put a show together with this energy. If you ever got to see Running Them live and with Jay, like, my last time was a long time ago, but I was, I knew some of the Hollis crew members. I was in Virginia, and they was like, they'll be here for New Year's Eve. So I pulled up on them. They performed at a nightclub. This was 95 or whatever. And I'm in Virginia, still tore it down. Still, we went to Toys R Us the next day. I don't know why, but I met them at Toys R Us the next day. But I was just saying to myself, like, their energy. You didn't go with us that year we went to the Source Awards, did you?
No.
We was in Miami, and we had the booth. Last year, the Source Awards in Miami. 50 Cent was on fire. It was in 2003.
Oh, no.
And it was like full circle. DMC comes through and comes in the suite, shows love. It's like, yo, what's up, man? They be like, Mo. They go, and I knew one person in there. Shout out to Cool E and their crew. But that was a full serve monkey, because my first time in Hollis, I'm going to the Chinese store. Who do I see leaning up against this Bronco? DMC. I'm like, what up, D? He's like, what up? And that was a surreal moment for me. And so years later, him coming to where I'm at in the suite in the Miami arena, it was like, wow, man. By this time Jay's gone. He died a couple months before. Because that's 2003. No, 2 years before, whatever it was. Yeah. That fall before. Mm-hmm. So to have that moment, man, and just to see what these brothers really became, man, idols in the game, really, really the kings of hip hop rock, and people trying to, because of their love for Run DMC, whether it be Jermaine Dupri and Tretch and people helping them and pushing them along, because we grew up on these guys are like superheroes, man, like almost like in the comic book. To see them, man, yeah.
They were pretty much everybody from our era. It was like, why did I start rapping? These two right here. Why did I start scratching? Jam Master Jay right here. You know what I'm saying? It's like, it's very rare to see anybody in our age bracket reference a person before them as far as like who got them into scratching or writing rhymes, that other type of thing. But because I'm trying to think, the last time I saw them, I was in DC. So I saw them with Public Enemy, Guy. Who was it? I think it was Guy, Public Enemy, Run DMC. I forget who else on the bill.
Because you got to look. For our generation, as much as I thought Flash and them and the Cold Crush and everybody was cool, they didn't make me, even if I played and put two words together to try to rhyme like them, they didn't make me want to do it for real. No. But when you see Run DMC and the coolness and the superstardom and the way they dressed didn't seem a far reach. Like flashing them with the clothes and because they were influenced by Parliament and but running them looked like the guys across the street, and they obviously they dress like the guys in the Hollis, the crew, that kind of thing. They dress like that, and from what I understand, that was Russell's thing. Dressed like Jay, when they had that first show with Jay, because from what I understand, they had a DJ, but when it was time to do a show, he was going to the Army, looking for another DJ, and on 25th Park, that's where Jam Master Jay used to DJ, and somebody said get Jay, because they went to private school. Jay went to public school, Andrew Jackson. It's the same school LL and 50 Cent went to, but Running On went to a private school. DMC went to school in Manhattan. So it was like, but everybody knew who Jay was in the Hollis crew. So Jay was the coolness of the crew. As much as you could see Run and Jay, a lot of that, how they look and how they presented themselves, not the stage and the rhyme, but just their look and demeanor is all credited to Jay. Yeah, the Godfather has.
Because I mean, it was easy if you was a teenager at the time to be like, yo, Mom, I want some new jeans, or I need a new t-shirt, instead of trying to go dress like Flash and them with some leather and feathers and all this wild thigh-high boots and all this other type. Ain't nobody, your mom ain't
But this is the stuff that you could get. If you notice, like, when Run DMC came out, the jeans of choice in the tri-state area were Lee jeans. Before Levi's. We got into Levi's about going in and out of 84 into 85. But that's why if you hear them say, Lee on my leg, sneakers on my feet, J by my side, D by my side, and J with the B. And it was Calvin Klein's No Friend of Mine, Don't Want Nobody Name on My Behind. That whole thing, it was about Lee jeans coming out, and that was a 70s thing.
Right.
You see them old pictures of Rocksteady and the Breakers and all that. All those guys had Lee jeans. Those were the jeans of choice, the Lee jackets. And then when they got played out, people translated to Levi's.
Yeah, because I remember growing up, you had the girls wear Gloria Vanderbilt's.
Yeah.
Sergio Valentes, Jordan Ash.
No, but it got to the point where they would snatch your Lee tag off the back of your pants if they seen it, and because you could easily pull it off, because it's a flap and you just rip it, and they be like, "Yo, you just been arrested for wearing Lees." That was the thing if you was corny. But right before that, we were putting our Lee patches on the tongues of our Pumas and Adidas.
Oh, wow.
The patch, you would rip it off yourself and cut the little threads in the back, glue it on the top of the tongue of your sneaker.
The first time I heard of that.
Yeah, that was a thing. If you know, you know. We used to take our Lee patches off our jeans, or take them off an old pair, and put them on the top tongues. It was really a Puma thing, to be honest with you. I think a couple people did Adidas, but taking on the top tongue, so you tie your laces and that shit stand out, and it was Lee on your. That's a real thing, man.
Wow. So just wrapping up the album stuff real quick. It reached number.
Larry Smith, talk about.
Oh, Larry Smith. I mean,
first super producer in hip hop. We talked about the Houdini episode.
Yeah, we talked about him in the Houdini episode, and this just goes to show you the flip flopping, not the flip flopping, but the back and forth that he went. Because if you listen to Houdini and how their sound was like smoothed out, as we called it, happy hour hip hop or business casual hip hop. He comes to Run DMC. He also used real quickly an Oberheim DMX drum machine to create the beats with that, compared to using like a signature Fender bass sound, which ended up becoming like the Houdini bass sound for their smoothed out, R&B-ish type flavored songs. So it's like just to see his creativity going back and forth
from hard to smooth.
Yeah, hard to smooth.
Even did Fat Boy stuff and Curtis Blow stuff.
Yeah, so that was quite spectacular. Also, this album was dedicated to the memory of DJ Junebug, who worked as a DJ in the Bronx club, the Disco Fever. He was selling drugs at the time. At the same time, he was working as a DJ. But the album was dedicated to him.
I Want Action is the name of the Orange Crush song. That if you take out the vocals on I Want Action and just keep the drums, it's Suck MCs.
The album reached 53 on the U.S. Billboard Top 200. It was number 14 on the top R&B and hip hop albums chart. It was the first hip hop album to go gold, and it also ended up on everybody's top 50 albums that you had to have. It was at number 40, number 25, 51, 26, number 7, 11. Of course, it ranged as various, but it was always in the top 50 to top 20 albums that you had to listen to whenever you decided to take your music journey.
There you go.
And when we get back, we'll be doing the pros, cons, and conclusions. Okay, folks, we are back with our pros, cons, and conclusions to wrap up the Run DMC self-titled debut album. What are your pros, Mo?
My pros is just the innovation of it. From the drums to the drums on Suck MCs to the rock sound of what's the record? Rockbox. Fresh. I think this album is the definition of fresh. It was the new generation of MCs, young guys, 19 years old, and every sound that they did. I mean, the sounds that they introduced were fresh. I'll say that because I got some other stuff on the cons. But the pros was that the energy. They brought a new energy into the game, and it was needed. It was a changing of the guards, and they stepped up to it. That's my pros.
Yeah. My pros, as he stated, they were new, they were fresh, they were young, The rhymes were not corny. They were very up to date, in your face, aggressive, braggadocious without being too me. It was just like it's hard to say, but it was a fine line that they walked between being braggadocious and being selfish, but they weren't selfish because the two of them were intertwined in between. Their
very
rhymes,
tag teamish with
very tag teamish. If it was wrestling, they'd be the British Bulldogs or the Road Warriors, whoever you want to reference at the time. But also the sound, the sparseness of the tracks, just the scratching, the drum beats, which were hard and monumental and groundbreaking at the time. It's like I said, it's just as a young man listening to this record and getting into hip hop for the first time, it was everything you wanted from a rap group at the time.
In the middle of the hype of Michael Jackson's Thriller, that's one thing to be clear.
Yes, and this was
they cut through that.
Yes,
and was able to cut through that and still get a gold album for something new. That's a lot.
They cut through everything. They cut through R&B. They cut through pop. They cut through rock. This is literally a trailblazing group that set their own path, and not only set their own path, but created the path for everybody up until today to follow through.
That's a fact.
Cons.
My cons is they cheated a little bit with using the same beat more than once. It was a little cheap. They cheated a little bit, and also the social commentary was a little too much. They could have left it to one song. It was a little. They could have kept it a little bit more raw, but I understand because they were chasing that. They didn't know what was going to be a single, so they tried to sprinkle. If you don't pick this one, maybe you'll pick that one. The social commentary of it was a little too. Those are my two things. It's a little too much for an early group. You could have. The one song was safe. Hard Times, We Got It. You could have did one per album, but they did about 3 of them, and I didn't think that was. It wasn't bad, but it wasn't necessary. So it was between those two. They did Sucker MCs and Hollis Queens, same thing. Then they did Hard Time, 30 Days. All that sound is the same record. Those are my only cons. Yours?
My cons are Wake Up and Jay's Game. Those two tracks. Other than that, it's gold for me. So your conclusions?
I think this still should be held up. And the hip hop and I think it's coming up. They got the Hip Hop Museum in the Bronx, and they're still building it. Everybody's going there to do tours, dropping off stuff. They probably have the biggest area. I might even have a whole floor to themselves. Like
Run DMC?
Yeah. Wow. They know they. I don't know if they will. I'm just saying they should.
They should, yeah.
Because they are the most impactful group in hip hop. First to go gold, first to go platinum, first to go multi-platinum, the world tours, Live Aid, sneakers, movies. It's Run DMC, man. Like, regardless of whatever it went in, whatever, you always have to respect that. They did stuff the guys they didn't do before them, and a lot of guys didn't do after them as a group, a duo. No duo has topped them yet. Yeah. It ain't a lot of duos in hip hop, I'm just saying. And those are Mobb Deep didn't. Yeah. No disrespect to none, I'm just saying these guys were Run DMC is the ultimate duo group in hip hop, period. Yeah. That's it. Your pros. Cons, pardon.
Conclusion?
Conclusion, okay.
Great album. Like I said, it ties a lot to me growing up, so I have a fond memory of it and what I was doing back at that time. I can even looking at the album cover, I was like, I know what I was doing. I know
Fresh Fest. There's no Fresh Fest without Run DMC.
No.
They were the headliners, am I correct?
You are correct. And I remember when Fresh Fest came to Pittsburgh. Yes, I do. But yeah, man, conclusion is I love the album, like I said, except outside those 2 songs, but those 2 songs weren't enough for me to knock it down anymore. So out of 10, I give it a 9, man. I give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. I would too. I'll give it a nice 9. Yeah, because you really have to think, and I challenge everybody to go back and look at what was out at that time and weigh it up to Run DMC, and you'll know exactly why we gave it the 9. Seriously, exactly why.
Yeah. So with that being said, hope you enjoyed this episode of Run DMC's debut album. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at the Run That Back Podcast.
Right.
Twitter /X Run That Back Pod 1.
That's a fact.
On TikTok, the Run That Back Podcast 1. On YouTube, which is here. Don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe.
Please subscribe. It helps us out there. And like, all those things really, really help us out, and it helps us continue to give you, content like this. And if you have any suggestions of the album that you wanted us to review from 80s, 90s, up until 2010, hit us up. And because we have, and people spoke and we responded. So you never know. We might pick your album.
Yes. So with that being said, he is
Scorpio Moe.
I am out, C.Boogie. And this is
the Run That Back Podcast.
Run.